So with this, you do not want the seeds from the blackberries. So this is going to be where you boil the blackberries. And this will take approximately 5 to 10 minutes depending on how many you have. And currently right here we have 4 quarts. I'm going to go ahead and boil them, and then I'm going to strain them. So all the seeds will be taken out, and then that blackberry juice will add all the sugar. So right now I'm just waiting for them to break down, and then I'll be able to mash them and remove all the seeds. Tested the berries to see if they were ready to be mashed, so approximately they have been on high heat for 5 minutes. So I'm just testing to see if they've got enough tenderness to be able to mush, and I do see that they are developing a lot of juice. These berries are 1 day old. They were picked by freshly by a farmer nearby, and I had to hurry up and swoop up a great deal for 4 quarts of berries. With these being fresh, they do need to sit at least a day to fully ripen. They don't want to pick them when they're already mushy. They'll break down and the flavor will not be as good. So I'm going to go ahead and mash these up, and then as I said, we'll go to the strainer and we'll strain all the seeds out so we can have a nice smooth jelly. Next to me I have my stock pot that I had pre-boiled water, so that way it's kind of getting ahead. So when I need to go do my water bath for the cans, it's already set to start boiling rapidly for me, so I don't have that wait between my jelly being ready and then the jelly cooling down. You really want to make sure the temperatures match. If your jelly cools and then it goes into the hot water, you could break the can jars, and then it just could cause a lot of problems. Jelly leaking into the water, been there, and it's nasty. So I just let that already get to a heating, like boil temperature, turned it off, and so that's ready to go when I'm getting to the water bath part. So I'm just mashing these berries down. I literally added no water. There's no water to this. The juices you see are literally from these great plump blackberries from a local farmer. I'm gonna go ahead and mash these really good. Now I wouldn't be as picky, but this is going to be for the kids, and everyone will be enjoying this through the school year for lunches and breakfast, so I want it to be smooth. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat off and continue to mash, and then we will strain. Alright. I want to get the most out of my berries, so I'm going to mash a little more. And since that's nice strong blackberry juice, it'll be great flavor. So we're just going to give a couple more smashes and pour it through the strainer. And I'm just going to use the back of my spoon to press it into that strainer, and I'm going to keep going through. As you can see, it's going right through the blackberry juice. So as you've seen, we've reduced And I've already added into the pot, because I have a smaller bowl. I've already added when the bowl was full to here, and I kept mashing. This has removed majority of the seeds. There might have been a few that escaped me and gotten into there, but honestly, the goal is most. And as my family prefers smoother jelly, and I have 4 children who would be very kind to complain about the seeds in their jelly, so I've tried to remove them all. As we make our lunches for our children, and we have one child who lives on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day for lunch. So here we go. This is all the seeds and the pulp. I'm gonna go ahead and just put that to the side. On a side note, I have heard people who are less picky about seeds dehydrating this and making fruit leather, or using this as like a compote for a cobbler. You can do what you want. For me, I'm just going to put it to the side, and maybe we'll decide later. Okay, so now we have all of our blackberry juice. We are at this part going to add sugar, and my family prefers sweet, not too sweet, and so the main rule is 1 cup of sugar to 1 cup of juice. I have eyeballed my blackberry juice. You can be more precise. I am estimating about 4 cups of blackberry juice I got out of there with doing the straining. So that is, started with 4 quarts, and so that ended up giving me 4 cups of juice. So I'm going to add 4 cups of sugar. And then when I add the 4 cups of sugar, I'm going to take it back to the stove and cook it on medium heat to dissolve the sugar into the blackberry juice. Alright, so I have my blackberry juice of 4 cups approximately, with 4 cups of white granulated sugar, and that is on medium heat. I am hoping to dissolve the sugar and make sure it starts bubbling. That lets you know it becomes like a gelatin state, and when it reaches that gelatin type state, when all of the sugar is dissolved, we are going to remove it from the heat, and I am going to show you a little trick. And this is liquid fruit pectin. This is when you have liquid fruit pectin, you add it to your boiled fruit. And this is different than fruit pectin in the powder, which would be added as boiling process. So you would have to boil that pectin. So I'm making a little bit of a shortcut. There are many recipes that say not to even add pectin, but I honestly love the pectin, making it more spreadable and smoother on toast, and for sandwiches it holds up to me much better than without pectin. Alright, so I'm just waiting for my blackberries. I feel safe enough that I can turn it up to a higher heat. I do get a little worried that I might scorch my fruit, but I think we'll be safe. And since we are adding the sugar and we're going on to the part with pectin, I'm going to go ahead and turn up my water bath to a high heat so it can start boiling, so it'll be ready for my cans. So I have cans currently, my jars, and my lids are currently in hot water. I don't have a fancier kitchen, so I literally in my sink have a tub of very hot water, and I simply submerge them, and I've rotated them a few times as I've been in here doing the jelly. So that will be ready. So while this gets up to a boil, I'm going ahead and step away, and I'm going to lay out a towel and put my jars on it on the table so my jars are dry and ready for the hot jelly to go in them. see rapid bubbles, and once I move my spoon through and the bubbles are not stopping, that is a proper boil. That is a simple rule of thumb when you're cooking with a solution that needs to come to boiling, and it means a rolling boil. That means when you put your spoon through, the bubbles do not stop. Therefore, we know we can turn off our heat, and we'll move to getting them in the cans. Let's go to the table. Canning does not need to be complex, and that's the scary part about anybody who wants to preserve food. They feel like it's a big investment. I have done where I had everything and I had a full line of canning, but this honestly came to, you have your funnel, which is specific for canning. It actually fits right in the top, and my jars though are a little narrower, so it fits right on the mouth. And then I have, later we'll show these, that's what gets the cans out of the hot water. And then I just buy generic lids and rings. And honestly, it's an investment that is well worth it. It makes it that, what's scary is that everything can cost money and you don't feel like you're actually helping your family because you have good food, but it's costing so much. It doesn't have to be that way. So I'm gonna scrape the sides of my pan where the thicker sugar juice got on there, and I'm gonna grab my fruit pectin and move it in there. So I was introduced to this liquid pectin, and it's 1 pack for every 2 cups. So I'm gonna go ahead, well pardon me, I fibbed. It's 1 pouch for 4 cups of juice. And as we said, there's 4 cups in here. And we're just gonna squeeze that in and then make sure it's thoroughly mixed together into one mix. What's great about this funnel, and I recommend to everyone, is that when you have it into your canning, you are to have a space just under this last line of your jar lid, just so that there's room to expand when you're going in the boiling water and the temperature's changing. This awesome funnel will literally have the length of space in your jar. So it's foolproof for the space in your can, and that is for anything that you're canning. That funnel provides exact space. Unfortunately, I do have a jar currently that doesn't have where the funnel will fit in there, but that's okay. We can eyeball that. Like I said, it'll be at the very top where the rings start, so we know that. Now I am living dangerously with this funnel just sitting on the top, so just make sure you're holding it with your finger securely, or you can have a helper do that. I have done this a few times, so there has been some slips, but it'll be okay. So like I said, I have 4 cups of juice, and with adding that sugar, sometimes it seems to make your final product more than that 4 cups. So you'll be wondering why when you put it in your jars you have a little bit left over. That's something that just always seems to happen. So we call it, now you have a sample. So I have calculated, I have 3 small jars, which are approximately 8 ounces each. But since we don't fill it to the top, it's a slightly less. Then I have my 16 ounces. And somehow that just ends up being exactly, there's always a little overage, so I counted that in. There. Awesome. So for the next part, I'm gonna put my lids on, and with this part, you put the rings on and you do not tighten it all the way. You want literally to turn it until you just about get it tight. It seems strange, like you're gonna something's gonna leak, but it will not. You just enough just sitting there. That gives enough room for pressure when it's in the water bath. All right. And we're going to go ahead and put these in the water bath. And like I said, I love these grippers. This is for your cans, so you don't have to worry about any splash. There is a basket you can put in the jar, or for the jars to sit in. I have found that unnecessary. You can choose to do that. There's a great ball canning kit that comes with all the necessities. All right, we have had our cans sitting here for 5 minutes. You can make the option if you feel extra safe and want to go up to 10 minutes just to make sure that they're in there long enough and that they seal properly. 10 minutes is completely fine. You just witnessed it sucked in already. It means that when that goes pop and it goes down, that means it's sealed. So beautiful. I'm going to take it to the table to cool down, and it'll take approximately 4 to 5 hours to come to a safe temperature to go ahead and store. Now you did see that I had filled this jar. Unfortunately, I was reusing a jar and it's not set for an actual regular lid. So I here been swapped out with a larger jar. This one hasn't gone down yet, but these all have pressed in. And if this doesn't go down, you can even take up to a day, a full 24 hours for it to go down. If it doesn't, you have two options. You can put it in your fridge to use immediately, or two, you can go ahead and boil another water bath and submerge it again. That is perfectly safe. All right, so here we go. This is blackberry jam, and this is made from local blackberries. And this is how we don't just use our harvest, but we support other farmers and their products that they're offering to us. Thank you.